Good morning. Today we're releasing the committee targets and the broad framework for the House DFL budget. This pandemic has been difficult for everyone, but some Minnesotans have been hit harder than others. Our budget will focus on helping those most impacted by COVID: students, workers, families, and small businesses. We're committed to ensuring that Minnesotans are able to weather this pandemic and then thrive once it's over. We're raising significant progressive revenue in this budget and making important ongoing investments in areas like education, healthcare, and economic security. Our budget makes investments while understanding that a large amount of federal stimulus funding is coming from Minnesota, some in state and local funding, and others directly to things we need to build back better, like childcare, education, housing, energy assistance, mental health assistance, and more. We're very grateful to President Biden and the Democrats in Congress for sending us this much needed assistance. But this is not the time for cuts or disinvestment in the state general fund budget. We cannot leave any Minnesotans behind, especially those who struggled the most during the pandemic. Together, we have to ensure that the Minnesota that emerges after this crisis is better and more equitable than it was before, a place where everyone has economic security and opportunities to succeed. With that, I'll turn it over to Majority Leader Ryan Winkler.
Good morning. Passing a budget is the first priority of this legislative session. Our budget targets today reflect the ongoing needs of Minnesota years into the future by prioritizing education and investment in youth, in K-12 students and higher ed students, in prioritizing access to paid family and medical leave, earned sick and safe time. DFLers are putting Minnesota families and Minnesota workers first. The other part of this budget session is making sure that the federal funds coming in from President Biden actually go to the most important priorities for this state. Minnesota in the long run has been stagnating. Our schools have become more average instead of above average, widening racial gaps in almost every measure, from health to income to education, means that a whole generation looks to a less prosperous, less equitable future in Minnesota than what we have seen in the past. We have healthcare costs rising, childcare that is less available, and families that are financially insecure at levels we have not seen in several generations. We cannot let one-time federal help get in the way of the long-term investments that are essential for Minnesota's success. Minnesotans have seen the rich and well-connected do better and better even during a pandemic. Big corporations and the richest Minnesotans have seen their wealth soar, while so many others have struggled worse than ever. We have had a short-term crisis, but it is part of a long-running set of disinvestments and walking away from the values that Minnesota has relied on to become a great state where everyone can have opportunity and a chance to get ahead. President Biden's rescue plan is exactly what Minnesota needs now, but in the long run, we need to invest more in health and education or we will fall behind. And I will turn it over to Chair of the Ways and Means Committee, Rena Moran.
Well, good morning. So COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on our entire state, but the hardship hasn't been felt equally. To pull through this crisis, we must prioritize those among us who have borne the worst brunt of the crisis, including our students, our workers, and small businesses. While we're nearing the end of the pandemic, the struggles too many Minnesotans face will continue unless lawmakers take deliberate actions to help end them. Through bold investment in education, childcare, health, housing, and economic security, House DFLers are working to deliver a hopeful, strong future for everybody in our state. And I will pass it on to Chair Marquardt.
Thank you very much, Chair Moran. We know that COVID-19 has really hit our students, our families, our workers, small businesses very disproportionately. And very important investments are going to be needed, not only for our state's recovery, but to build a stronger state into the future. And we have the resources to do that. And we do that by creating a more progressive and fair tax system. That's how we build a better state for the future. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to Education Finance Chair, Chair Dabney.
Thank you, Chair Marquardt. Good morning, everyone. I'm Representative Jim Dabney, and here in the Minnesota House, I have the privilege of chairing the Education Finance Committee. We know that a state budget is more than numbers on paper. It's a moral document and a blueprint that reflects our values as Minnesotans. As the chair of the Education Finance Committee, and as a parent of a public school student myself, it's important for us to be thinking carefully about strategic investments that put our students first, the measures and steps that we can take now so we can help our kids bounce back more quickly from the pandemic and to build their and our collective futures together. House DFLers are committed to delivering ongoing support to Minnesota's students, families, and schools so we can emerge from this public health crisis stronger than before, better prepared, and you will see that reflected in our budget target and our education budget proposal. I'd now like to hand it over to Deputy Majority Leader Liz Olson. Thank you.
Chair Dabney. I appreciate it. In developing this budget outline, House DFLers are recognizing the tremendous challenges Minnesotans have experienced over the past year and investing in our state's resiliency to help our students, workers, small businesses, and families recover. COVID-19 is just one chapter in our state's history. And as we look beyond the pandemic, our budget lays the groundwork for everyone in our state to once again have the opportunity to succeed no matter where they live or what they look like. I'll turn it over to Majority Whip Her.
Thank you, Representative Olson. As Minnesotans, we know when we are doing well, it is our responsibility to care for those who are not. We must continue to invest in resources, services, and programs to not only support Minnesotans who are struggling as we come out of this pandemic, but to give everyone the opportunity to thrive. Ensuring that Minnesotans' top earners pay their fair share like the rest of us will help make this happen. And with that, we will open it up for Q&A.
Okay, our first question is from Bill Werner. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. I hope that you folks can all hear me okay? Good.
Yep.
A couple part question. First of all, would you outline what revenue changes or increases are going to enable this budget that you've proposed? And my second question has to do with the capital investment portion of it. Am I reading this correctly that a $1.6 billion bonding bill is going to be part of the proposal, or am I not getting that correctly? Thank you.
Well, I will let Chair Marquardt answer the revenue portion of your question, but as to the capital investment targets, Chair Lee has a general obligation bonding target of 500 million, an appropriation bond target of 500 million, and a cash target of 30 million. And the numbers on the spreadsheet represent the interest payments going forward.
Okay,
Chair
thank you.
And without giving details, the tax bill will be out the first week in April. But we know that, as we've said from day one, that we're going to help those individuals and workers and businesses that have been hit hardest by the pandemic. And so, there'll certainly be tax cuts to individuals and small businesses on the PPP and unemployment insurance and aid. And we're going to pay for that with progressive ongoing revenue that's going to create more fairness and level the playing field. As far as the specifics, we still have a lot of work yet to do in the tax committee on that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just one quick follow-up on that. And I understand that I imagine we're safe to assume that a fifth bracket is going to be part of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but also, are you anticipating any other significant revenue raisers? And can you give us any sort of at least a feel for that, sir?
The tax bill will be out the first week in April.
I had to ask, otherwise you wouldn't respect me. Thanks, Mr.
I've got a tax committee that's still working hard on a bill.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right, next question is a combo question from Peter Callahan and Dave Orrick. What is the total spend? How much is in new taxes, increases first, and then the net after-tax cuts?
So the total spend is 52.5 billion, and in the first biennium, the tax bill will be revenue neutral, so that will not be funded by ongoing revenue in fiscal 22 and 23. And in the future, we will continue our commitment to students And so there will be ongoing revenue in the future.
All right, next question is from Kevin Featherly. Go ahead.
Hi, so it looks like you guys are proposing $120 million in new spending for public safety and the judiciary combined. The House has targeted 90 million, and according to David Montgomery, at least, the governor wants $147 million in that area. Is that going to be a difficult negotiation? I mean, are you going to be able to find a mean there somehow?
Well, our targets are nearly identical to the governor in judiciary and public safety. We may have different spending priorities, but their relative importance in proportion with the rest of the budget is the same as the governor. We are very aligned in our values with the budget that the governor put forward and focusing on those populations that need our help the most. And so while Chair Becker-Finn may have slightly different priorities in the judiciary area than the Walz administration, and Chair Mariani might have slightly different priorities than the Walz administration in public safety, we will bring that to the negotiating table, and Chair Mariani, Chair Becker-Finn will work with Chair Limmer and the governor's staff and the folks from the agencies, the Commissioner of Public Safety, Commissioner of Corrections, to put forward a budget that we can all support.
I'd like to follow up on that with a question about the SAFE Act. You've got $35 million budgeted, but that bill seems absolutely dead at the moment. And Leader Winkler said that there's no real pressure, that that's not a priority at the moment, which is quite frankly a very confusing statement that I don't know if I can understand. What's going on with the SAFE Act? Are we going to see that reappear anytime soon?
Well, we know from conservative Republicans that since the American Rescue Plan was passed, and they have become aware of the amount of money that the city of Minneapolis and the city of St. Paul will receive directly from the federal government, that there is no longer an appetite amongst conservatives to pass funding dedicated for this purpose. We know from Operation Safety Net, from briefings we received from the administration, that the mutual aid agreements that they were concerned would not materialize have materialized, and all the planning that was required to take place to make Minneapolis safe during the trial and after the trial has taken place. Certainly, we would still consider it a priority to pass that funding, but it doesn't appear to have a realistic path forward at this point in time in light of the federal resources to local government.
Forgive me, I need to follow up on that because they passed a $20 million bill. Are you saying that they will no longer engage in negotiations on that, even though they've passed a bill?
I'm saying I do not believe that there's a political support to put together a deal at this point in time.
Thank you.
All right, next question is from Ricardo Lopez. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My question has to do, I hope it's not premature, but has to do with just the nature of the legislature working remotely this session. Given, there seems to be a lot of big differences between the Senate Republican budget targets and the House DFL budget targets. How confident are you that we'll be able to wrap up this session on time, given the constraints of the remote work and just the big gulf that exists right now between the two set of priorities?
Well, it's not the gulf between the House and Senate that concerns me, because you've seen this movie before and you saw how it ended. In 2019, Leader Gazelka, Governor Walz, and I were able to bridge our differences and come together around a budget that works for Minnesota. The federal government's assistance is like giving us jet fuel and sending us taking off. And now we have to kind of repair the airplane in flight. And understanding how all that federal money will be used and how it's directed while we're putting together a $52 billion budget will be the biggest challenge of this session. For example, the amount of money that Chair Bernardi will allocate to different portions of the higher education budget will be influenced by how much money the institutions are receiving directly from the federal government. So, and keep in mind that much of the federal aid is to address discrepancies that are because of COVID-19. And so if you take that away, we still have our ongoing commitment that we have to keep to our institutions in the city.
And so to follow up on that, because that's one big question is how some of this federal money will affect the budget negotiations. And one aspect of that, I believe, is whether the federal law would prohibit tax cuts or tax increases that are funded by federal funds. Have you gotten any clarity on that point and how that might affect any DFL plans as it relates to tax increases?
We do not have clarity on that, but with a zero tax target in fiscal 22 and 23, any reductions in taxes being offset by revenue, we believe that we would meet the qualifications set forth in the federal funding of not directly or indirectly spending the federal dollars on a tax cut.
Okay, next question is from Brian Bax. Go ahead.
Hi there. You sort of alluded to it in your answer to the last question, but do you expect to have clarity before these decisions need to be made on what the federal spending will look like, or federal allowances will look like, and what restrictions are placed on them, when that money will come in? Or do you believe that you'll have to set a budget not knowing that and have some triggers to draw down state spending in areas where the federal money might be able to be plugged in later?
Well, I know some of the smart reporters on this presser right now were also paying attention to the Ways and Means Committee hearing yesterday. Chair Moran's committee is really where the action is. And you would have heard yesterday Commissioner Showalter go through the different streams of federal funding. And for those of you who weren't there, I encourage you to go to the Ways and Means Committee website and take a look at the submissions from the Commissioner of Management and Budget. They detail each of the streams of funding that are directed towards Minnesota and the statutory authority for them to either directly spend that money or where the money goes directly to other entities like school districts or counties and cities. They state that. And so the answer to that question varies by stream of funding. So for example, in the area of childcare, there's approximately $540 million. There's not a lot of clarity about how that money will be spent, but it's highly likely that Chair Pinto will be working with the administration on how that spending will unfold as he figures out how to spend the $50 million he's been allocated in childcare to maximize what we can do with the federal dollars. But also everyone has to keep in mind that this federal funding is temporary. It's 2 or 3 years at best, and we want to make commitments that we can keep to our children. And so for those commitments that we start to fund, we want to be able to continue the funding out into the future.
And for Chair Marquardt, could you please clarify whether you plan to just have one tax bill, or are you breaking out the conformity measures and moving that in separate fashion early in April?
I am working on one tax bill that would come out in early April, unless leadership would have other plans, but my intent right now is one tax bill.
Okay, next question is from Dana Ferguson, and she asks, can you elaborate on how you'd like to see the proposed $50 million increase in early childhood funding applied?
Chair Pinto and his committee members will figure that out.
All right, next question from John Croman. Is Representative Dabney's summer school bill today using money from the latest federal stimulus or from previous federal COVID relief packages? Chair Dabney wants to answer that one.
The summer school bill that's coming to the floor today is funded out of fiscal year 21 state general fund dollars. That matches the urgency of getting these dollars out to school districts so that they can plan for the summer and so that families can plan for the summer.
Jim, do you want to say a word about the federal funding that was freed up this morning when Republicans withdrew their hold on the December federal bill?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Importantly, the Senate GOP was holding back $57.5 million in federal funds that were available for summer school for districts across the state. They've been holding on to them for a while now. They've now lifted that hold. So those monies will now be available for school districts to start planning. Our summer learning bill matches up with that, hand in glove, you might think, and complements the federal funds that are now available to the school districts. So it's a potentially powerful combination of opportunities for school districts to implement this summer to bring kids back and get them going again.
All right, Theo Keith asks, is it no longer part of the discussion to combine summer school funding with PPP and UI tax breaks into one bill that would pass sooner rather than later?
Well, now that we have the Senate budget targets, the governor's budget targets, and ours released, there's no reason we can't start talking about the big picture resolution. And we can't resolve any of the budget without resolving all of the budget. It all works together. So as we look at those Minnesotans most in need, it's across the spectrum. We need to know what Chair Noor is doing in terms of aid to small businesses as we figure out what we're doing in the tax bill with PPP conformity. So I would anticipate that we could have a big picture agreement before the end of April. And so folks will see where things are going. Fortunately, with the extension from the federal government on the tax deadline to May 17th, and then Minnesota following suit, Minnesotans do not need to file their taxes until we have certainty on the tax picture in Minnesota.
All right, Dave Orick asks, who do you want to be able to control the federal dollars that can be controlled locally, MN Ledge or Walls?
Well, the dollars that are allocated to local governments will be controlled by those local governments and their political authorities. I think with regard to the federal funding that's flexible, we would like to partner with the Walls administration and make sure that the highest priority needs are funded and that we have a very firm understanding of the plans for the spending. So we can put together a general fund budget that fills the gaps and that leverages the federal funding in ways that help Minnesotans the best.
All right, another question from Kevin Featherly, and then we'll have to wrap up. Do you expect there to be a third budget proposal from the governor to reflect the federal aid money that's coming?
Well, again, the Ways and Means hearing that happened yesterday was pretty in-depth in terms of the information that the administration provided on the funding that we're receiving and the plans for spending it. With each different stream of revenue, there's different statutory authority. And so in some cases, the federal government and state law is very specific about how the money will be spent. In some cases, it directly gives discretion to the executive branch. And in other cases, there's a shared discretion between the executive branch and the legislative branch. And so it really varies depending upon the pot of money that we're talking about.
Okay, last question is from Tori Van Oot. On the PPP and UI tax breaks, some business deadlines have passed already and plenty of people are trying to file their taxes now or already did, even if the deadline moved. What about them?
So as the speaker mentioned, for most tax filers now, May 17th is the deadline. And there's folks that are doing estimated taxes. But as we've kind of said from the start, that we want to make sure that we're helping everyone. So every single business, every single worker who lost a job, we want to make sure that they get that conformity, they get those tax cuts, they get that aid. And also the Department of Revenue has stated this and has done this since the beginning of COVID-19, that if someone cannot pay their taxes because of something related to COVID-19, they have been delaying interest and penalties and so forth. So let's do this right. We have the time to do that. And I would think at this point, most CPAs know when this deadline is and would be advising their clients appropriately.
All right, I'm not seeing any more questions. So Speaker Hortman, if you have any closing comments, and then we'll wrap up.
Sure, just to follow up on Chair Marquardt's answer, the legislature always wrestles with the issue of conformity. When the federal government changes the tax code after we leave in May of one year before we return in January. And when you look at when the tax bills have come out over the years, the Republicans are certainly complaining about timing this year, but their tax bills customarily have come out in late April when they were in charge, impacting conformity in the same tax year. And so this is just how the legislative schedule works. Folks know that in some cases that means amended returns, but this year with the extension of the deadlines, it makes it a little bit easier. We have a budget proposal here that reflects the needs of Minnesotans. It directs assistance and investment to those who need it the most so that they can get through COVID-19 and then thrive once it's over. Students and children are our highest priority, but this budget completely funds education, healthcare, economic security, and safe and inclusive communities. And we look forward to the committee chairs and all the members of the committee, Democrat and Republican, contributing to a budget that serves Minnesotans well. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.